Hey, what up, y'all? I am Lou, and today we're gonna be going over how to use Python to connect to your email exchange, find specific email messages, and then get them deleted. So this request came from a viewer. They asked, "Hey, I want to be able to use Salium to connect to Outlook, like the UI, be able to read every message based on specific keywords." Because I think what they're trying to do identify what's junk and what's not junk that actually went through to that um, that made into their inbox and be able to delete it. But they were thinking of it more from a UI perspective. And that's kind of my response to him, like, dude, that's not the right way. What we need to do is let's connect to the exchange. You'll be able to search by keywords, and then from there you could do what you please to do with them, right? You could delete it. In this case, we're just deleting. Let's say if you have files that you want to download from an email attachment, you could do that as well. There are different options, but and again, for this example, this video, we're going to connect to an email exchange, look for keywords in the body, and then we're going to actually delete the email messages. So let's get started, guys. There it goes. So, well, I already have a folder created. Let me delete this file. There's nothing in it. It's pretty much blank. So let me go ahead and get this deleted. Let's create a new file. I'm gonna call this file IMP email. Just call it that for now, right? So IMAP, if you're not familiar with that meaning, it stands for Internet Message Access Protocol. So that's what we're going to be using here in order to connect. There's really three main protocols when you're dealing with like Exchange servers. You have SMTP, which is simple messaging, the transfer protocol or something like that. And then you have IMAP, which is Internet Message Access Protocol. And then you have POP. All of that's kind of used for communication with, but they have their different purposes on what they do as well, right? So we're using the IMAP protocol. Everything that we're doing does not require any packages to be installed. So that's the sweet thing about this. Everything's already included in Python, so there's no additional packages. There's no virtual environment to get set up. There's none of that, which should be good. You know what? Let me take it back. We are going to use one. The reason why we're going to use one is we're gonna need to store our credentials. We're not going to use a JSON file to store our credentials. We're actually going to use some environment variables to store our credentials. So in order to do that, I will need to install a virtual environment to install that package. So let's see, I'm already in my folder, I mean. So let me go ahead and create it. env, and once that gets installed, gets set up pretty much, then now I could go ahead and activate this virtual environment. And then I'm going to install the Python what is it, environment package. Yep. Alright, so now we're good to go. And ultimately what this does is this allows me to use so let me just show you if you're not familiar with this package, right? So let me kind of just show you real quick. So ultimately what it does is we would end up creating a .env file, and when we get everything set up to pretty much to to activate it, it's going to be looking for a .env file, and if it finds it, which we need to create one, it's going to pull in all of those variables in. It's pretty much going to be a the variable name, and then it equals the value, whatever the value is. And so we'll walk through that process. So that's one way to do it, and that's what we're going to do in this project. I know I have made other videos where people are like, hey, well, how do I kind of hide my credentials because it's actually in the file, right? And this is one way to do it. So I'm gonna kind of show you a little bit on this piece on how to do it. What I'm gonna do next is let's go ahead and create a file, and I'm gonna call this .env. So I'm gonna show you an example on how, like, the format structure, right, that it needs to be in. So let me make sure there it goes. Just want to make sure all of my text is in a good size where it's easy for y'all to view. So for instance, we'll keep everything uppercase, and I am going to need my email username and email password. So for this case, it will be something like email user equals double quotes, and then I will put in my email account at whatever it is, right? Topshoes.com, whatever your email account is. Same thing goes for your password. We could do email password, and then of course you just type in whatever your password is. So that's pretty much the format that needs to be in. Now, it doesn't have to just be email or past credentials. We could put anything in here that we want. I'm gonna go ahead and put in my true information in here. Okay, so now that I got that information, now we could go ahead and get started. So we're gonna bring in a few packages. So we're gonna go ahead and do the import oops, that's not it. IMPlib. We're gonna also import the email package. We're going to import from email the parcel import. What is this, header? Is it header, or let's see, HTA? No, that's not it. What the hell? Oh man, I misspelled this, and this is wrong. No wonder. What the hell, man? There it goes. That's it. And then for the last one, we're going to be importing in the environment variable package, which this is the new one that we just we had to install. What we would do, call it env dot oops, I had it wrong. env, yep, there it goes. Then the next step would be environment variables, env dot read. Then ultimately that should activate it. And so now if I were to, we're going to set some variables. So I'm going to have the server. So under server, it's going to be whatever your whatever exchange you're using, right? Whether it be Gmail, Office 365, whatever it is, that's going to vary based off of that. So in my case, I'm using Outlook Office 365.com, and then we're going to have user. This is going to be ultimately reading my environment variable file that I had, right? So email user, then I'm going to have password email password. Trying to think. I think this is it. So at least we got these set up. All right, so let's see. All right, so now that we specified server, username, password, and again, username and password coming from our .env file over here. So the way this works, just kind of FYI, when you were if you deploy this over to a production server, well, your credentials will never be part of your source code, right? Because you're gonna be bringing in the environment variables. So, but what you will need to do is ultimately create a .env file on that production server, and then you could specify. You could like lock down that file. Like you could put this file in a specific folder that only admin personnel has access to, things of that nature, which makes it more challenging. Even if you have other users logging into that server, kind of prevents them from being able to like access the file. So there's ways around there. That's a little bit more some more details to it, but at least this kind of gives you the somewhat basic understanding of how to use it. All right, so now that we have that piece, what we're gonna end up doing is let's go ahead and create a few functions. Right, we're gonna create a connection function that ultimately is going to connect to pretty much the Exchange server. That's what we're doing. And then we're going to create another function to delete the email. And then we would let's see, what we would do next would be I think that's it. Those are really the two main things that we need to do, I believe. So let's go ahead and let's get started with that first. So I'm going to create a function. We're going to call it connect. And what are we going to take in here? We're going to take in server, username, and password. Those will be our three parameters that we would bring in. So this is where we're going to end up calling our implib package. So implib dot what is it? Yep, imp4ssl. And then we're going to specify the server, the connection. So let's call this imp connect. All right. So next we're going to do connect imp connect, what is it? Login. There it goes. Login. And we're going to specify username and password, as we could tell. So it's going to be username equals username and password equals password, right? So now we have that piece. What else? Trying to think. I think what we will end up doing here will be a return imp connect. All right, so let's try that. So that's one piece. It's the connection piece. Now we're gonna do a delete email function. All right, so this is what we're gonna. We're gonna need the instance and the email ID. All right, so these are the two things that we're going to end up needing in order to delete the actual email that we're trying to delete. End up calling this will be the instance dot fetch, and then we're going to have to fetch it by email ID. And then we're looking for a specific flag. So in this case, believe it's flags. So what we're trying to do is get back the each email has these I think the attributes associated with flags could be like delete if the email deleted, yes, no. This case it will be no, or I guess 0 maybe. I don't recall what the, if it's binary, if it's like a boolean 0 1 or true or false. But either way, it'll kind of give you that indication. And then ultimately what we do, we're going to change that flag indicator to be deleted indicator. And once we send that message over to the server, Exchange server, and they see that, oh, this has a flag of deletion or deleted, it's going to end up deleting the email. So let's go ahead and do that. I believe this will be, I don't want to use type because that's a keyword for Python. So they just use typ, and then it would be the delete response. All right, so the next thing that we're going to end up doing is now we're going to go back on our instance. We're going to call the store function. We're going to have to specify email ID as well. But this time we're going to end up changing the flag status on this email that we're trying to delete. So that's pretty much the difference of what we're doing here. So what we're going to do here is it's going to be deleted. Yeah, let me close it out. There you go. So again, ultimately we're getting an email object. We're getting the status flag. Now we're changing the status flag to be deleted. That's pretty much what we're doing here. Again, same thing. This is going to return back some objects. So let's get our response. Dude, I spelled response wrong. What the hell? All right, so now we have type and response that we're getting back. I don't think we don't need anything. What we could do for now, we could go ahead and print out. Just print the deleted response. This is more for our own visual, so we can kind of see the data, right? That's the main purpose for this. But that's it, though, man. That's all we're gonna do here. Okay, so now that we have these two functions, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to build a list of keywords, and ultimately we're going to want to find these keywords in the body, and then we're going to be searching for them. And if we, ultimately what should happen is, let's say we're looking for a keyword of keywords of like U1. So let's put a list together of keywords list, right? So we're gonna put U1. Don't worry about the well, I don't know, it may matter, but we'll see if the other doesn't. The uppercase and lowercase, I think that may matter, so we may have to do some normalization there. But for right now, let's just try to get the main concept done. U1. Let's put another one like let's say trip, right? Maybe you get emails of you should take a trip, or Expedia messages of about taking a trip, or whatever, right? So I just put those two are going to be our keyword list that we're going to have. Let's see what else. So now I think what we could do is we're going to have to iterate over this list. So let's do that. Let's say I'm going to call this keyword in keyword list, right? So now we're going to get, in this case, it will be 2 keywords that we're getting back. And now let's go through the process. So we're going to do I'm going to call this connect, and we're going to be calling the connection function up on top. And again, remember, it wants 4 parameters: server, username, and password. So we're going to go ahead and pass that in. Server, user, password. Cool. So now that we have that in order, the The next thing is we're gonna have to search our body of the well, my bad. Before we go on next, the next thing we need to do is we're going to need to specify the what is it that we're searching in. Like in our case, we're searching in the inbox, but you could search through other, you know, you could search through the junk folder, you could search through sent folder. I mean, the list goes on. In our case, though, it's going to be inbox. All right, so now that we have that, the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to do a search. So connect, search, none, and then we're going to end up doing body, and then we're going to do plus keyword, double quotes, and then let me close this out. So it should, what this is going to do is actually going to check the body of the email, of all the text that's in the body, and it's going to be looking for our keywords that we're trying to find. All right, so once we do that, we're gonna get back to objects that are going to come back. We're going to have a type, then we're going to have the actual message. All right, so the message is going to contain all the details of the email, the internal emails, and we could do a print statement just to kind of take a look at it to see how that looks. So let's include that. Let's do a print statement. What we need to do here is we need to get the first index of that message. And again, once we look at the data, it'll better explain to why we need to do that. Then we're going to do a split. And then now that we're doing a split, because again, keep in mind, even though we're looking for one keyword, it's going to find all the emails associated with that keyword. It may be 5 emails, it could be 10 emails, who knows how many emails. So now what we're going to end up doing, we're going to do a iteration over that to identify what the email ID is. Because that's ultimately what we're looking for, right? In this case, we want to find the email ID for all of these. So we're going to call this email ID in message. So by us iterating over and doing the split, we're going to end up getting our email ID. That's ultimately what we're doing. If we could go ahead and print this out. Again, we'll print it out so you can kind of at least take a look at what we're doing. Email ID. Because all we're trying to do here is delete. Next, we're going to end up calling our delete function. Delete email. We know we need to bring in the instance, which is going to be the connect. And then we're going to specify our email ID. And what this should do, should delete that actual email message. And then I'm going to do print statement and call it complete. So overall, not too bad. Again, we'll test it out. There may be a few things that got missed. We'll see in a minute. But what we're doing here is we're going to connect to the Exchange server. We're going to do a search, in this case by keywords. And then on top of that, we're going to get the email ID based on the results that we get back from the search. And then we're going to delete the email, and we're done. So what I'm going to do now, let me go ahead and share you this account. So here's the emails that I have in this other account, but it'll do the job. Let me send an email, right? Just like the way we did earlier. We send an email, and I'm going to send it to this other account. So let me do, I'm going to call it just testing, and then what did we say? What did we call the other one? I kind of forgot. What's our list? U1, right? So we're going to put this in the body. We're going to say U1, and then I'm going to do a click link below, right? Something basic. So let's send this over. And let's wait until we get this email. So while we're waiting to get this email, what I'm going to do, I need to switch my credentials over to this other account. So let me go ahead and do that right quick. And for that, let me switch out. Because again, I don't want to show my screen for that. Okay, cool. Now that I got that set, let's go back to see if I received the email. Probably went to junk. Yep, it did go to junk. So let me go ahead and move it to my inbox. Cool. So now let's see if we get that. If we're able to retrieve that, we're able to find it better yet. Hopefully we can connect to it. That's probably the best. Oh, it's not. It's working. Did it work? So I retrieved the ID of the email. Let's go back to this. All right, I'm gonna hit refresh, right? Let's refresh. Sorry guys, I was not showing my screen. Okay, so let's kind of walk through it again. So I got my credentials pointed to the new account. I'm gonna go ahead and run this again. It does connect. The flags is being changed to seeing deleted. Complete. And then now if I go back and we take a look at it to see if it actually deleted the email, it's still showing up on here, which tells me that it did not delete it. So ultimately I'm missing something. So let's see what I'm missing. Let's look at our deletion piece. I think the deletion piece is valid. There is this other piece that I did not include, but let's try this out. This is a purge email function, and we're gonna just call this instance. We need to specify the instance pretty much. And then what we're gonna do here is we're gonna get back two objects back. So one will be the response, and then we're going to do instance. And then we're gonna end up purging that instance, which this would actually occur at the very end of the for loop. So we're deleting multiple emails. Everything needs to be done, and then we will end up calling this function. Which would be, what are we bringing in? Connect. Because again, looking for the instance. In this case, it will be the connection instance. So we're going to bring that in. But one thing that I want to do in here is I want to be able to print the response. Right, so let's get that printed. Alright guys, and now let's run it again. And now let's see if it deletes. Hey, it did delete it. I just noticed it. It was gone. It just took a while to delete. Oh shit. Okay. Never mind. It did work. It just took a while. I don't know why. There must be a small delay. But let's. All right. So I'm gonna send another email. To. I'm gonna call this new test. And we're gonna call this again trip. Right, so we'll call it trip. You have one. So let's send this over. And now let me send another email over. This would be second test. And let's do something like all trips, or better yet, all trips with the S at the end. What I'm trying to figure out here is and we'll find out is it looking for identical. I don't think it is. I'm thinking looking for this pattern. So that's where you got to be kind of cautious on the pattern that you use as well, because even if it has an S at the end, it's still going to find the word trip in there, so it's going to end up deleting that email. So they just send that email over as well. Let's do one more, but this time it's going to be, let's say you have one, right? Which is not the same as you won. It's different. So let's, this would be third test. So we know 2 of them match, but the third one does not match. All right, so now let's take a look at the emails again. We see 2 where we have new test, trip, you have 1. So the word trip matches, so I'm expecting that to show up. I mean, to get deleted. The second one is all trips. Again, it has the word trip in it, but with the S at the end. I'm still expecting that to get deleted. And then we get to the last one. Did it go to junk? It did. I don't know why. That's kind of, maybe because they found the word you have 1, right? So that's, it got identified as a as junk. So this one should not get deleted because when you know, again, it's you 1, not you have 1. So in my mind, it should not find that. So let's see if these 2 get deleted, but this one does not get deleted. Again, so I did not have to do this. I think it delete. I swear, by me doing this, I think it speeds up the process, but I don't think it's needed to purge email, because by deleting it, that should do it. By changing the flag status, it just takes a while. I think it takes maybe a minute or 2 or something. But either way, let's go ahead and rerun it. So we have these flags as it has been seen, and then of course we change it to delete it, and then we have it has been seen, change it to delete it. So see how we only got a list of 2. So it found 1 message for U1, then it found another message for trip. So again, if I go back, as you can tell, they're deleted now. We only have 1 email here, which is the third test, which we already identified, and we knew this is not going to get deleted. So the other 2, it was able to delete. So now let's just kind of do a quick review over everything that we did. You know, dude, I didn't import this in. I guess I did when I called this out, but you know what? This is not even needed. So I'm going to remove this for now. Let me save, and then we can rerun it again. Yep. So see how now it found nothing. It's able to connect. It cannot find any emails that has these keywords in the body, which is why there's nothing to delete. So let's just kind of review this. Let me go ahead and delete this real quick, and let's kind of review this over. So we have our IMAP lib. Again, this is to connect to the Exchange server via that protocol, Internet Message Access Protocol. And then we're bringing in, am I even using this one? You know what? I'm not even using this guy. Nope, I'm not using it, so I don't need it. Cause hold on, wait up. I'm not using either one of these. Why did I bring these in? I just thought about it right now. Nope. I don't need these. I'm not using this. I think I used it for another project that I was working on, but in this scenario, this case, we don't need it. So in reality, we just need we just need 2 packages to import in our IMAP lib, which is our, again, Internet Message Access Protocol. Then our environment variable package, which we do need to install. And again, because we need to install it, I recommend create a virtual environment and get that installed. We'll go through, we will activate our virtual environment over here, our environment variables over here. Then ultimately we're reading it. By default, it will read the .env file located in same folder path. So pretty much, you know, you will need to have this file located in the same section of your program where you're gonna have that script running. And then of course we're gonna specify our server URL, right? In this case, is Outlook Office 365.com. If you're working with Gmail, it'll be something else. What we have here. Then we're gonna create our connection function, which is again to connect to the Exchange server. Straightforward, right? Server, username, password, then we return back the connection. And then we're going to create a delete email function. In this case, we're going to specify the instance, which is the same as the connection, which is this guy over here. And then we're going to specify the email ID. Every email has an ID associated with it. So as you retrieve these emails from your Exchange, there's going to be an ID provided. And so that ID, that's how we're going to pretty much be able to delete these messages. And what we're doing in the delete email function is we're going to fetch the email by ID first, and we're going to get the flag status of that email. And then next, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to so let me kind of go back. I actually printed this out. So see how we get this flag seen status? It's pretty much it's saying that it's been seen, but that's it. What we're doing next is we're going to update that status to delete it. Now what happens is when we update that status to deleted, we are telling the system, like Exchange, hey, it has a delete status. And the Exchange server of it, you know, maybe it takes a minute, 2 minutes. It'll take a few. It'll take a little bit of time, right? A few seconds, a few minutes, but nevertheless, the Exchange server will see that status change and be like, "Oh, this is deleted. Let's delete it." So this purge email section, when we do run this, one of the things I have noticed is it does seem to delete your messages right away. Like instead of waiting a few minutes before they show up as being deleted, it actually, like, I guess, executes the deletion portion right away to get your emails to be removed, you know, indefinitely. So that's kind of why we have this piece in here. And then of course this is just my keyword list. So this could be whatever the hell you want to do, right? You know, more from a better practice would be, let's say you may have a file, a text file, and you list all the keywords that you're looking for. Based on those keywords, you're going to delete those emails. Easily, you could just, you know, do a read, like a WIS open, you know, CSV file or text file, and to kind of read that list, put it into an actual Python list, and then just iterate over it, right? Like the way we did down here. And ultimately, we're iterating over that list. We connect to the server. We're selecting the inbox. Doesn't have to be inbox. It could be any other folder that you have. But in our case, we're selecting inbox. And then we're searching by body. So, and again, this is the body of the email. But let's say if you want to search, for instance, the subject name. Maybe you're looking for specific subject names and you want to delete by that. Just change this to subject. And then ultimately your keyword will be what it's looking for in this subject header. And whatever you find, you could kind of delete it that way as well. But in our case, the request was body. So we're checking the body of, the body of the email. And that's what we're doing here. We're searching. We're going to retrieve back a message of that, which would contain, let's see if it shows here or not. It would contain the ID. And that's kind of why we did a split, because it gave us the ID back, ID 1 or 2, like 7 and 8. We split it to a list, and now we're ultimately iterating over this list, which is why we get these values here of 7, 8, because we're doing the iteration of those email IDs. And then based on those IDs, we provide that email ID to the delete email function and of course the connection, and bam, we're done. hopefully this helps out. Again, this video was I got a request for this video. Somebody wanted to do pretty much what I'm doing here. So hopefully they see it. This helps them out. If you have any issues, if there's anything that you want me to make a video over, let me know. Put in the comments. I can't guarantee that I would get to it because there's other projects and stuff that I'm working on, but I'll put it on the list of videos to make, and then when time permits, I'll try to make a video for it, man. Thanks for watching, and peace.